Hi, welcome back. I'm Jester of the Retro Stars. I'm playing through Ocarina of Time and analyzing it as we go. We have just begun the Water Temple. So today we're going to talk about the Zora's view of the sacred and how it is reflected in the structure of this temple. Okay, we've lowered the water level and given ourselves access to this particular... I don't think I want to go that way yet, actually. Can I go that way? Off to a great start. Okay. Let's talk about the structure of the water temple. So I've talked about how the structures of the temples reflect the particular understanding of the sacred embodied within them. The forest temple is this interlocking maze-like structure, which reflects the idea of like sublime mystery. It's this moldering ruins being reclaimed by moss and insects, and it's the forest taking over what once was a human structure. Therefore the sublime. The fire temple. Okay, let's... I'm pretty sure I'm missing a key here. This is going to be the theme of this entire playthrough of this temple. It's okay. It's okay. It's fine. It's fine. We're just along for the ride. The fire temple is full of these big rooms that are all jam-packed with a bunch of weird fire contraptions. Oh, this is a key right here. Neat. Okay, so we're going vaguely the right direction. The water temple is situated around the central room. We have all of these offshooting rooms. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. We have all of these offshooting rooms. And so, on the one hand, we have a representation of the harmonious cycles that the Zora represent, in that we're constantly going back to the central room and going through these offshooting rooms. So there's a cyclical interaction with the temple itself, which is furthered by the use of tides and changing the water levels throughout the temple. So you can change the water level to 3 different heights. We came in and it was already at middle height, and last episode we changed it to the lowest it can go. And here pretty quick we're going to change it to the highest it can go. So there's the 3 different levels. You have to interact with those changing of the water levels cyclically as well. So when it's at middle height, you can have access to the spot where you change it to the lowest. When you change it to the lowest height, you then have access to... I can't get out unless I use the hookshot. Then you have access to the place where you can change it to the highest level. So you cycle through the 3 of them. This, again, furthers the idea of interacting cyclically with the temple. If you know what you're doing, you can get through the dungeon with 3, I believe, or no, 2 cycles through the water levels. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to end up doing more than that. For example, if you miss a key on one of the water levels, then you might have to go back through the entire cycle to get that key again, which can be a little irritating. Again, I think that's one reason why people don't really vibe with the water temple as much as I think... Well, okay, I'm not going to say one should like the water temple. I think I like the water temple thematically and on a vibes level, and I don't need to go here. This is just for a gold Skulltula. Let's leave. And I think the idea of the structure is really cool, even if in execution it can be slightly frustrating. Okay, so the way the structure of this temple presents the sacred is that the sacred for the Zoras is about interacting with the harmonious cycles of the cosmos. Do I go up there yet already? No, I don't want to do that. Have I been down here? I think I've been down here. Did I do that? Yes, I did that last episode. We're fine. We're great. This is fine. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go into the central pillar. Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, so interacting harmoniously with Cosmos is the Zora understanding of the sacred. And we can also think of their understanding of the sacred as having something to do with love, because love and cosmic harmony go hand in hand throughout much of literary history. Again, I'm thinking of Dante, right? The love of God is the driving force that animates the cosmos into a harmonious dance of love and praise. We see that in Dante's Paradiso. So maybe there's a similar thing going on here, although similar to what's going on with the Gorons. As we progress further into this dungeon, I think we're going to see a potentially paradoxical understanding of the sacred with the Zoras. So we talked about with the Gorons, their sacred is a power greater than human capacity. Okay, I need to sneak my way down here. This is one of the keys that people often miss, because you do have the little cutscene indicating that you can go into the cellar here, but still an easy thing to miss. Okay, so and here's some more of the dudes that you just gotta fight for some reason. What was I saying? Yes, okay. The Gorons and power. We talked about how their whole thing is viewing power as sacred, but not untrammeled power like with Ganondorf's case, because the Gorons also have a narrative of their founding hero taming the power of the cosmos and creating order out of chaos. So there's a sacredness to power, but the power must be controlled. On some level, the Zoras have a similar but inverse thing going on, where they're all about harmony and interacting harmoniously with the cosmos, but there's also an acknowledgement of the great power and untamed forces of the universe. So thinking about the ocean as symbolic of primordial chaos, there are aspects of this temple that acknowledge that fact. So in the same way that water can be symbolic of harmony and love and growth, it can also be symbolic of that which destroys and consumes, in a similar way to what we were talking about with the Gorons. So again, there's a weird paradox in the way that the sacred aspects of nature are presented in this temple. And I think that raises questions, again, of how does one interact with the cosmos in that sense, in a harmonious way. Okay, so there's a key door. I can't get there yet. I need the long shot. Okay, let's go here real quick. Maybe this is where the block is that I need to push. I feel like I've probably... yeah. Let me just go up here real quick and make sure I'm not... Can I even get up here with the... yes. Let me make sure I'm not missing something. Maybe this is the... compass? I don't know. There's a... yeah, maybe it's the compass. Which is good to have, especially if we miss a key. Actually, that's great. That's great. Cool. I am not very good at aiming my bow. That's fine. All right, so paradoxical, seemingly contradictory ways of understanding the sacred. I think now might be a good time to have a conversation about what even we mean by the sacred, because we're presenting it in so many different lights. To reiterate, the different aspects of the sacred that the different temples are bringing out. Actually, even before we reiterate that, I drew this distinction between the natural sacred and the supernatural sacred way back in Dodongo's cavern. So the natural sacred is just the sense of a meaningful, purposeful cosmos inhabited by supernatural forces. Or just like a sense of not even supernatural, a sense of enchantment. The idea that the cosmos means more than is there. Or in its very being, it simply is inherently meaningful to a great degree. That's the natural sacred. The supernatural sacred we talked about is embodied specifically not in natural sites but in religious structures. So the supernatural sacred brings the natural world into a narrative of redemption of some sort. It brings it into this greater narrative. Oh dear. Hello, sir. Brings it, like, reorients the cosmos toward some higher conception of the sacred. The temples in Ocarina of Time. I guess we'll go ahead and do that. Guess we'll go ahead and do this. Each bring out a different aspect of the sacred. So, Forest Temple, the Sublime. Fire Temple, power. Water Temple, harmonious cycles. And then the Shadow Temple and the Spirit Temple are both different aspects of truth. The Shadow Temple is about the terrible aspects of truth that we often want to ignore. And the Spirit Temple is about a sort of higher religious truth that is inherently ineffable, but symbolized by light. Okay, that's the entrance here. I really need to figure out what block I needed to be pushing. Am I just misremembering? I very well could just be misremembering. All right, we might be wandering around here for a second as I'm trying to figure stuff out. Oh, here it is, here it is, here it is. Okay, so you pull it this way. And you're going to need this later to get a key. This is I think, perhaps one of the more obtuse parts of the Water Temple. Okay, anyway, so those are the fundamental aspects of the sacred that each of the temples bring out. But as we have just talked about, a lot of the times the sacred is presented paradoxically even within a single temple. So, what is the sacred? I've already talked about how the sacred is basically the highest value of a community around which the community is oriented. It has something to do with the divine, it has something to do with ultimate reality, and I guess ultimate truth, like the ultimate meaning of existence is I think the way that we can think about the sacred. Okay, this part's kind of fun. Oh dear. I do love the, like, different waterwork aspects of... Do I need the long shot? Surely not. Do I... Hold on. This can't be right. Yeah, okay. Okay. So, the sacred, I've mentioned before, is one of those realities that, like, I'm interested in the sacred as a phenomenological category, similar to something like beauty, right? Like, people say that beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I don't think that's... I understand what's being said there, in that everyone has different perceptions of what they find beautiful, but I think we can all... Oh no! Oh alas! We can't go here yet. But I think we all have some sort of belief that beauty is a thing that exists. And I think beauty is a thing that exists out there in the world. It's not just this thing that we've made up. Can I just jump off the cliff here? And yet we all have different perceptions of beauty. We all have different aptitudes toward experiencing different aspects of beauty. But there's a common through line that there is a phenomenological reality that we would call beauty, even though we experience it maybe in different ways. I think there's a similar thing going on with the sacred. Can I... Wait. All right, so I've done that already. Do I need to... Let me look at my map, actually. That would be helpful. I have a map now. All right. Okay. Looks like there's some chests lower down. I can't get... I don't think I go there yet. Let's go... All right. Oh, water temple. I'm trying to be an apologist for you. I think you're really good and cool. You're also quite confusing. Although, okay, yeah, the methodical way you have to interact with this temple is neat. It's cyclical and slow. And I like that. I think it makes me nervous as I'm trying to like give an academic lecture basically while I am getting lost. I need to bomb that wall. Is there a way to... All right, I'm going to change the water level and see if I can get to that wall because I know there's a key in there. Then I'll change the water level back to as high as it can go and go back to that other spot. I think. I don't know. I think, therefore, I am confused. Okay, I see. I was incorrect. We actually start at the highest level and then make our way down from there. So now we're at the mid level, which is exactly what I need to be to get to that area with the bombable wall. Okay, so the sacred. You can define it in a bunch of different ways, but we still have some conception that the sacred is a phenomenological reality that seems pretty standard across cultures and across understandings of religion. The difference is going to be what actually counts as the sacred and what actually counts as the profane. There's a the theorist Mircea Eliade, who, I don't know, I get the vibes that he's not actually a very good anthropologist. I'm not an anthropologist. I think some of his stuff is kind of neat as like literary theory, but yeah, anyway, he's one of the sort of, I am creating an overarching theory of religion in the same way that Joseph Campbell did, and I don't know if you can really do that. But he talks about how the sacred is always described in contrast to the profane. So he has a very social aspect of the sacred. Okay, we got our key, so we're good now. He has a very social aspect, like a very social understanding of the sacred, in that the natural world is seen as a world of chaos, a world of demons, a world of the profane, right? Like you go out into the forest, you don't know what's there. There's a bunch of monsters, that is animals that want you dead. So the sacred is cosmos as opposed to chaos, which he associates with human culture. So human culture ends up being that which dictates the sacred. This, I think, is different than like the way we're thinking about the sacred in Shinto, where the sacred is seen as like the wonder and beauty of the natural world in which you are invited to live in harmony. Ah, so yeah. Anyway, I think there are problems with trying to define. I think, what do I need to do here? I need to go. Link. Oh, you're having problems. I need to change the water level to the highest it can go now. I think there are problems in trying to describe the sacred only according to what it is not. Because I don't know. I'm kind of the opinion of Wendell-Berry, where I don't know if I necessarily believe in the profane. So Wendell-Berry says there are only sacred places and desecrated places, and I kind of like that. I've mentioned before that I'm a Christian, and so my understanding of the sacred, in a lot of ways, is going to be really different than associating the sacred with a specific location, like a temple or a shrine or something like that. My understanding of the sacred is that ultimately, like, sacred ultimate reality, right, is the love of God as revealed through Christ, right? So on that level, the sacred actually has no geographical bounds in the same way that it seems to in like thinking about these temples or something like that, right? In my understanding, sacred sites like a church or something like that exist to reorient our understanding so that we're able to see the sacred in everything. So we see the love of God in everything potentially. Where am I going? What am I doing? I'm talking about theology. Okay. So on my understanding, there actually is no sacred on this phenomenological level where we can point toward that which is sacred and that which is profane. So there is no sacred, but also because there is no sacred, potentially everything is sacred because everything can be a means of I don't know, not means, well, okay. Because everything can, how do I phrase this? Wow. I don't, again, this is a weird, the sacred is a weird concept. Where am I going? I'm looking for a door. I'm looking for the doorway to the thingy. Very eloquent. Eloquent and elegant. I am lost. Do I go here? Where am I going? Oh yes, here is where we're supposed to be. And the bats have returned. Okay, so on my understanding, the love of Christ is ultimately what is sacred. So there's no sacredness tied to a particular location or a particular object. However, because on some level nothing is sacred, we can start to see potentially everything as sacred because everything is created by a good and loving God and held in existence by the love of God. So I have a weird view where nothing is sacred, but also everything is sacred. Because of that, the sort of mythopoetic discussions of the sacred that I'm talking about with these temples, I think are like part of the sacred, but not the whole picture, I suppose. That being said, I really, really do appreciate the way that each of these temples draw out a different aspect of the phenomenological reality of the sacred. Okay, got our key. Amazing. Now we can actually progress. All right, so there are just some cool challenges throughout this temple where you come over here, you've got to keep changing the water levels. Again, going with ideas of cycles, harmonious, natural cycles with the cosmos, like with the tides, or the seasons, or, the cycles of life and death. Okay, so now that that is down, what animals even are these? They're like dog heads? What? I don't know what these are. They almost look jackal-like, but I don't think they're jackals. There is a jackal in the Shadow Temple as the figurehead of the boat that we go on that kind of symbolizes like the ferrying across the river Styx. So very Anubis imagery, but I don't know what these are. I don't know if we can think of them. They're almost like water dragon looking things. That would be kind of cool. Again, ideas of like primordial chaos and the paradox of the sacred as described by the Zora perception of things. Are we good? I'm so afraid that I'm going to miss a key. Oh, there's a like. Truly the most terrifying Zelda enemy. Okay. I think I'm almost to the midpoint. I think. Is this the mini boss? Yes, it is. Okay. So this goes along with what I'm talking about as the ocean symbolizing the terrifying, chaotic aspects of reality. So it's so cool. You come in, you're in this big open space, this endless expanse covered in mist, a small pool of water across the ground, a single tree in the middle, and the doorway across the way. And you're like, what is going on here? This is very different compared to everything else we've seen up to this point. You come over here. There's no way to there's no way to get through this door. What, Navi, what do you say? Does Navi just tell me that I can't get through the door? Hold on. Strong iron bars are blocking blah blah blah. Thank you, Navi. Okay. And under the tree, almost emerging from the shadow of the tree, is Dark Link. Possibly the coolest and most memorable mini boss of this entire game. So Link will just straight up mirror your attacks, and you can't really Z target him, or he'll just jump on your sword. So there are different ways of fighting him. You can kind of outsmart him. I'm just going to spam Din's Fire because that hurts him. Okay. Oh no. Well, I hit him with my sword. That's good, at least. All right. So a very on the nose way of reading what Dark Link represents is that Dark Link is Link's Jungian shadow. Now I'm not. The last time I read Jung, I got really into like interpretations of mythology when I was in high school, and so I read a bit of Jung in high school. So I could just be just like woefully inadequately paraphrasing his idea, but there we go. He has the idea that like the shadow is the part of our subconscious that we suppress. It's like our darker impulses, and becoming a fully integrated human being requires our ability to actually face and understand our shadows. I don't know. I think there might be some merit to this idea of being able to understanding your own weaknesses and shortcomings, and um giving space to the darker, more chaotic aspects of our being. But I don't know. Oftentimes it's I feel like the discussion around the Jungian shadow is like way edgier and dumber than it needs to be. I don't know. It feels like the 14-year-old who reads Nietzsche for the first time and is like, yeah, this is cool. Anyway, I'll I'll try and talk about like the idea of facing one's darkness in a more, I guess, charitable and constructive way. So we're thinking about like Lincoln interacting with the shadow version of himself is facing the parts of himself that are chaotic, that do not accord with the rational, that on some level okay, this bit I've never been good at this bit, and here we go. Get away, get away, get away. That's hopeless. Yep. Here we go. That's fine. It's fine. Okay, so Link faces the chaotic aspects of himself that can't be accounted for by his rational mind, by, I don't know, I guess his social understanding of himself. There's a there it's not like an evil, but it is a hiddenness, a chaos, a darkness, perhaps. Maybe it's evil, I don't know. I don't think it is. There's a theorist. I mentioned the Catholic sacraments a lot. I'm not Catholic anymore, but I have read so much Catholic theology. But there's a Catholic theorist named Emmanuel Fault, and he talks about the way that the Eucharist actually channels and orients and gives meaning to our more Dionysian aspects of ourself, our inner chaos, our inner turmoil. The Eucharist as this very embodied, you know, I was about to say metaphorically, but that might some Catholics would disagree with me there. Analogically fleshy experience. It's a very embodied experience of eating the body and blood of God, right? That has a way of channeling and giving meaning to where's the fairy? The fleshy, the chaotic aspects of our inner psyche in a way that doesn't destroy them, but actually reorients them and gives them meaning. So, why did I mention that? What am I doing? What am I talking about here? I need to get to that platform over there. All right. All right. All right. Anyway, so I think Link here seems to be doing a similar thing. He's facing the dark, chaotic aspects of himself. He's facing his shadow, literally and figuratively. And the idea is that you do that so that you can no longer, like, you don't have to, I guess, you don't want to hide your own inner chaos because then it just festers. It has to be understood and integrated into your entire psyche. If I'm understanding Jung correctly. If anyone knows better than I do. All right, I think, what do I need to do now? Where am I going? Oh, I have the long shot. Man, I've just been playing on autopilot. All right, so I just need the boss key. Is that it? Okay, this might be what I need to do. So I think the way of perhaps summarizing the oh no, the paradoxical symbolism of the water temple is that water both represents the harmonies in which we are invited to participate and also the chaos in ourselves that we need to understand, and the parts of the universe that are also chaotic that don't quite fit into the bits of reality that we think are supposed to be harmonious. Okay, this is where the block is that I am glad that I moved out of the way, because you come over here and you can get the final small key that we need. And now I believe all we need is the boss key. So we're making our way there. More words in defense of the water temple. The aesthetics are just very, very good, like very strong, very eerie. I love the music. I love the music in all of Ocarina of Time. And I don't know if I have a favorite, but the water temple music really, really fits the vibes. Like there's the glittery sort of, I don't even know what instruments these are. There's like yeah, oh, goodbye, sir. There's the whoa. Why is there, hold on. Okay, that's hilarious. There's an arrow right in my face because I just fired it, I think. Okay. Neat. Okay, I think we now change the water level one more time. Let me make sure there's no more missing keys. Okay, we have them all on this floor. Then we have them all on this floor. And then there's the boss key in there. That's it. Okay, perfect. Perfect, perfect. How do I get there? Oh, yes, 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 yes. So let's go downward. And I will need to raise the water level one more time. Is that cycle number 3, I think? I think we're on cycle number 3. Okay, so the glittery, mystical sounding bells or chimes or whatever they are. Where are we going? And there's a dude right behind me. That's fine. I think this is correct. Now that we have the... Oh, yes, this should be right. Now that we have the long shot, we can actually make progress in this area. And then also the twangy stringed instrument that I don't even know what it is. And just the way that everything is all flowy and sparkly, it fits the idea of water very, very well. Okay, this room is a bit of a pain because you kind of want to take out the tektites. The way they just hop. I really need to get the ones in the far area there. Okay. Additionally, I do love all of the cold blue stone and tile. It does give the feeling that you're in some sort of weird ancient bathhouse or something like that. Like you can just feel the chill. I think I don't know if I think I'll shoot these guys just in case. Oh, there's another area with those boulders. I mentioned that they only show up 3 times. Here is a 4th time. Okay, in addition to all of the waterworks and the spouts of water coming from the mouths of sea dragons and things like that. It's just immaculate area design. And I again, I think it captures really well the relationship between the sense of harmony and the sense of chaos that we're figuring out how to inhabit. We're inhabiting the tension between the two. Also, the way that the light coruscates across the walls here. Like, it's just so good. It's so good. In addition to the feeling of, coming across all of the, oh, woo, woo. Oh, hey, these guys again. These were in Jabba Jabba's belly. All right, all right, all right. What was I saying? Oh, yes. The carvings and embossings on the doorways and things like that are also really neat. I'm sure kind of Atlantis vibes were something that was going into the design of this place. Like we want it to feel like an ancient civilization, and I think they really succeed. Okay, we've talked about the sacred and what the sacred even is. I don't know if we've talked about specifically why Link needs to go to all of these temples and interact with the sacred. Maybe we did. We talked about how the world experiences a sort of fall once Ganondorf takes over. The universe loses contact with the sacred. It ends up being desecrated, I would say, rather than profaned. And so, what Link has to do is, according to this supernatural understanding of the sacred, he's got to go to these temples, purge them of the evil hiding within. As we'll see, we're going to fight this weird, goopy chaos monster as the boss battle of the Water Temple. And yeah, and in so doing, he's restructuring the cosmos according to a higher understanding of the sacred, which is what these sacred sites intend to do, according to the supernatural sacred rather than the natural sacred. So as he gains an understanding of what the sacred actually means, we're better able to unite nature once again with those sacred realities. Alrighty, you're gonna fall down there. No, okay. We're almost out of bullets. I think that should be fine, though. I don't think we actually need any more. All right. Timed jumping puzzles. If I fall down, I will meet tektites at the bottom, and we're good. Right. Okay, so we've already been in this room. Gotta go past the... Oh! Let's fall down. Gotta go past the boulder here. Gotta go fast, as Sonic would say. Though Sonic never does say that. Ah! He never says his saying that he's well known for. Okay, Oh, good. Yes. Okay. So we have the key that I need. So many times through playing this dungeon have I gotten to this point and only to discover that I don't have the key that I need to actually get to the boss key. All right. Cool, cool, cool. Let's fill up my bottle here. I still have the lawn milk. My goodness. All right. Another fairy. We don't need that. Okay, here we go. Shoot our way over here. And more fairies. There this is very generous. If I when I was younger hadn't looked up how to cheese this boss, I think this might be the most difficult boss of the game. Oh, I think that was too soon. No, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. Perfect. Perfect. Yeah, so I am going to cheese the boss. I don't actually know how to fight the boss. The introduction here is cool, where Navi's like, "Hey, look out! There's something in the water." You don't know what it is. We see the what's going on from the beast's perspective, and we see it looking up at Link through the bubbles. We have the eerie, bubbly noises going on, and it's circling around. And here it is up out of the, but it's not out of the water. So suddenly you're like, oh, this thing is the water. He looks around and there it is. It's just this weird, goopy brain in a weird, goopy water tentacle. This, even more than the dragon of the last temple, seems to very clearly embody the idea of primordial chaos that must be overcome. It literally has no form. It's just this brain in a weird tentacle. Can I get it from here? Yeah, perfect. So the way to cheese it, you just hide in the corner. It can't really get you from here. And it's going to take a bit longer, but that is fine. Okay. Come here, come here. No! Oh, I wanted to get an extra hit on you. Alas, that did not happen. Okay, this might be my least favorite fight of the game, and I know maybe it's unfair to judge because I just cheese it every time, but I would be so scared of like being on the platform in the middle there and just getting grabbed because this thing can really attack you. Like it'll grab you with the water tentacle and just squeeze the life out of you and throw you across the room, potentially stun locking you because it can then grab you again. It's not a great fight. It doesn't feel it doesn't feel good to play. Okay. 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 Mm. I'm wondering now about the thematic relationship between the hmm. Okay. So I talked about how the childhood bosses are the dark reflections of the particular races. So Queen Goma is this figure that represents the kind of dark and gross aspects of nature of the created world. She's a giant spider. She What am I doing? I'm okay, hold on. I need to not be Z targeting. I need to there we go. Okay. Um yeah, King Dodongo is the dark and destructive parts of power. So he reflects the Goron's preoccupation with power. And then Baronade reflects the Zora's preoccupation with movement. I'm wondering if there's a thematic through line with the adult bosses. But other than some sort of confrontation with like the dark and malevolent aspects of the sublime or some sort of encounter with primordial chaos, I'm not really sure yet. So I'm going to keep thinking about that. Oh dear. Because like with Phantom Ganon, it's this weird creature from beyond dimensions. Can you There we go. I think it's almost dead. the the dragon. The dragon is the brute power of nature, and then Morpha is primordial chaos. So maybe some sort of like chaos, darkness. I don't know. That feels very like obvious and on the nose. Okay, it's dead. It just splashes into a little thing of water as though it was like a water balloon. And then the room drains, which is great. And it goes into the ceiling. I love the little drippy sound effects. Crawls across the ceiling and then is like sucked up into it. I don't know what's going on there. That's a weird death. And then there's like the bubble that bursts into the heart. No, the platform. Where's the heart piece? I need the heart piece. Where's the heart piece? There it is. Okay, this episode has been slightly lengthy. We're going to pause here. We've talked about more about the sacred, the Zora's understanding of the sacred, how it relates to everyone else's understanding of the sacred as a phenomenological reality, and why Link needs to encounter the sacred to heal a wounded world. Next time we're going to make our way toward the Shadow Temple. So, until then.